All right, it is Veterans Day, and as we just read down the list of activities, they are thin because, of course, it's COVID 19. But any of the activities that we have gone over, and by the way, we'll go over them again at the top of the hour, are all morning activities except for the spaghetti dinner. And and that is indoors for the veterans that have signed up in North Canaan. So let's turn to the guy and the big map and see if I'm right that if you're attending a ceremony this morning, that it should be okay because it looks to me like the big batch of rain is at least an hour, 2, 3 hours away. Good morning, Pat.
You're right. We don't see the rain coming in here until afternoon, 12 noon. So anything before that will just be cloudy. And then the showers will come in this afternoon. They'll continue tonight. They'll continue tomorrow. 65 to 70 today, near 60 tonight, 60 and falling for Thursday. And the showers will taper off tentatively because then Thursday night and Friday will have some rain or drizzle. Doesn't look like a lot, but it's not going to be one of Marshall's nice days on Friday because I was originally going 50 to 55. Now I'm thinking 45 to 50 for the high on Friday with some light rain or drizzle. The sun will be out on Saturday, excuse me, 50 to 55, and Sunday sun will mix with clouds in the mid 50s. So it looks like a dry weekend.
Now I've moved my radar down to Florida, and that's a pretty impressive looking storm.
Ada, yeah, no doubt about it. A hurricane watch has been issued for the west coast of Florida. 70 mile per hour winds, destined to become a hurricane. It's moving north. Right now, it's about 250 miles southwest of Fort Myers, and we expect it to bend to the northwest tomorrow and probably hit Florida somewhere between Clearwater and Cedar Keys.
Busy, yeah, busy hurricane season out of the Gulf this year.
This is unbelievable. And Tropical Storm Iota will probably be born today, and that is going to be moving just south of Puerto Rico and westward. So all eyes will be watching that.
Man, a
A
lot
lot
of
of, a lot of, yeah, a lot of tropical stuff.
and it's kind of moving in almost the same type of patterns. It's pretty interesting to if you live in the along the Gulf Coast. Good luck for.
Forget it. Yeah. Forget it. They've had it this year. I think so far we've had 29 storms this year.
And they've had five, right?
No, actually, well, New Orleans had 7 or 8.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's just unbelievable.
Yeah. And, friends of mine who are down there so far have written out a lot of them. But again, I told you yesterday, they also have a house in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and they're not going back there because the hospitals are full. That's how bad COVID is there. So right now, they're hanging out in New Orleans, and he said that's no picnic either because it's running high there as well. But we know that. We know,
Hey Pat,
COVID is.
my first three news stories this morning. Connecticut is up once again. New York State, the Hudson Valley finally is getting hit with the second wave. Columbia County is up drastically. Berkshire County in Massachusetts, they have cases on the rise as well. And of Connecticut, New York, and Massachusetts have reaffirmed that there's a travel ban that would really prohibit everybody going from one state to another. But because so many people travel and do shopping and do everything right along the state lines, if you live along the state line, Connecticut, New York, and Massachusetts, you can go back and forth for shopping and for work purposes. But if you're going to do anything else, then and stay longer, then you're going to have to quarantine before when you come back in. So, yeah, we're definitely on the increase. I saw a map yesterday that there are no cases, no states in the 50 states. Well, I'll say in the contiguous 48 states, there are no states that are steady or going down. You only have states that are all going up. by different amounts. So it's a messy situation. Now, I want to ask you a question with what's been going on with the tropical storms and the way they've kind of focused for us and the hurricanes, and it really affected the Gulf Coast. Is this the type of weather pattern that if we develop getting like nor'easters, that same type of pattern could develop for up here, or is that just so totally separate that it doesn't make any sense, which is probably the case?
No, it's totally separate. What we try to do, we try to find analogs. Like for instance, this has been just an unbelievable spell of mild weather. So when was the last time that we had at least 3 days of record-breaking temperatures in November? And the last time was in 1994. So what followed in 95? A lot of storms.
I was going to say,
in the winter of 94 and 95,
was it
I
bad?
believe there were 10 to 11 winter storms. Not all of them were snow, and not all of them were big storms, but there were just a lot of storms.
It was a very active winter that winter. It was a very
Yeah.
active winter, yeah. Well,
So, it's pretty. I don't know. Pretty much what I kind of thought, but not to the point of 10 or 11. I still say that the winters are going to be up and down, just the way the fall has been so far, and I do feel that we're not going to get out of the winter without one big, huge storm.
all right. Well, you would figure that the way things are going elsewhere, it's just, it's that's, and whatever does come seems to be more intense. I mean, it's everything. The weather is like this past summer. Come on, we had 2 tornadoes at different times, and we had a tropical depression. That's what we had, and that all came within like a month period.
Yeah, we've been saying this for the longest time. The extremes have now become the norm, and unfortunately, that's the way the weather's been running. Look, again, Minnesota, 2 days ago, 60s, yesterday, 30s, snow, this morning, teens. It really, really is a lot of swings, and that's creating a lot of work for Pat. Because I have clients all over the country, and boy, it's not like you just sit back and say, oh, we'll have 3 or 4 days of beautiful weather. We just had that here. But elsewhere, it's not like that.
All right,
It's just not.
now you have a new owner who bought the Mets, Steve Cohen.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Well, he said that the Mets are going to be in the World Series within 3 to 5 years.
Well, that's great. I don't know what that means for me.
Well, I'm pretty sure that Mr.
keep
Cohen
on.
is going to keep you on as their meteorologist.
It's nice of them.
I think that'll happen. You get any? Have you got any more movie clients back?
Well, I told you about Ozark.
Yeah.
Yep, Ozark. And then this morning, we had, I don't know the name, but they asked me to give them a price quote for a TV shoot that they're doing in North Carolina. So I'll wait back to them and see what it's all about down there. But I've seen them trickling in, but certainly they're not coming in full force. There are some states that still don't allow it.
Yeah. Well, it's just what it is. It is what it is. I take a look around, and like yesterday, I spent another hour out on my back deck. I spent so in the past 10 days, I spent more time out on my back deck than I did in the summertime.
Isn't it amazing? Yeah. Well, there's less bugs too, right?
Well, there's less
Marshall?
bugs, and 75 degrees is different at this time of year than it is in the middle of the summer when it's like 95 degrees. See, the 75 right now feels warm because it's meant to be cooler, but in the summertime, nothing feels cooler than 95.
Yeah, the humidity is also higher, right?
So
Humidity is also higher.
it's more pleasurable to sit out on the back deck for an hour. You don't have to worry about getting sunburn. It's not so excessive heat that you can't sit out there. And matter of fact, you don't even have to sit under an umbrella. So I've done that. I haven't done much else though. But that's all I've done. I really haven't gotten out to actively enjoy this nice weather. Just plain too tired by the time I get home. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. I know what you mean, but there's more on the way, Marshall. We could take. You could write this down. I guarantee you that there will be additional spells of very mild weather.
Well, that's good. That's good news.
Yeah. Don't you think we need good news? Because,
We won't
like
even
you
go.
said, you're not watching the news
No.
anymore, and I don't blame you because, truthfully, it is very depressing.
It's so depressing that some people that have been friends of mine for a long time, I've started to filter them off my Facebook page because I can't take it anymore. I just can't. And so I don't watch the news. Thank goodness gracious. But it comes to me through, and I have to look at the news, of course, because it's my job Monday through Friday. But so I have to look at it in the morning. All right. And that's enough to affect me for the rest of the day. To be quite honest with you, I don't know how people who watch news and follow this 24 hours a day, whether they're pro Biden or pro Trump, I don't know how they do this without going crazy. I just don't. Because if I were to watch the news, I'd be banging my head up against the wall. That's all I could say.
I totally agree with you. It really is. It gets very depressing. I mean, now COVID is back, in the lead story
Well,
because the election is over, and you know, there's not. I mean, okay, great. They'll stick in. Oh, well, there may be a vaccine, on the way. They'll stick that in. Yep. When it's here and when everybody's getting it will be a different story, but it's only on the way. And as far as I'm concerned, there's a lot of things that unfortunately are going to happen before this vaccine takes shape, and that is more and more injuries. What they need to do, though, Marshall, we said this once before. Um, okay, let's say, for instance, um, yesterday in New York State, there was another 1,200 cases of COVID.
Yeah.
Okay, out of the 1,200 cases, how many of those are serious enough to be hospitalized? Not how many are in the hospital. That doesn't tell us because that's accumulative. But out of the 1,200, how many of those people had to be sent to a hospital? And I guarantee you will find out that it's a very small fraction.
Connecticut has seen an increase from this week to last week of I think between 150 and 300 in the hospitals. I know Columbia County and Dutchess County in New York are seeing big increases, but like I said, they can diagnose it earlier. They can treat you better with better treatment. So we'll see what happens. But it's all too depressing, and I'm just going to go home and listen to music today.
Good idea. And when you do that, make sure you take your umbrella.
Yeah, okay. All right, Pat, I'll speak to you tomorrow.
Okay, bye, Marshall.
Pat Pagano this morning in the Weather Center with a check on our tri-state forecast here on Robin Hood Radio.